Hi everyone, I'm Kylie, the director of Astarte Studio, Belly Dance and Fusion, here to introduce the first in a series of discussions on dancing into maturity. I'm going to be talking with several dancers from around Australia on different topics relating to this concept of maturity, what it means to them, what it means in society, what it means to the wider community and especially on social media, and how it relates to us specifically as belly dancers. My first guest is Amanda Pulleybrand from APB Dance in Melbourne, who's providing us with some really interesting and fascinating insights into the world of marketing and the concept of maturity in relationship to that. Hi, everybody. I'm Kylie, and we're discussing dancing into maturity. This is the first of a series of podcasts, and I'm here with Amanda Pulleybrand from APB Belly Dance in Melbourne.
So nice to be here.
So, Amanda works in the area of website and marketing and social media. So, she is the perfect person to discuss initially some of the deeper insights and ideas into what is maturity in terms of social media attitudes and also how it affects our perception, how it might affect our marketing, and how it influences women both internally and externally in society. It's a big thing. It's a big discussion point. So, I guess, um, what is considered mature age in terms of social media marketing?
That is the golden question right now, not just by this conversation topic, but in many industry groups. Because ideally, all of our world is divided down these beautiful lines where our young people are aged generally under 30. Your teenagers travel through to your 20s. And then we have this black hole, I'm going to call it, where everyone who's over the age of about 35 to 40, until they hit the tender age of our golden years, as they call it, when we hit 60 to 65, kind of exist in this bucket. And if you
So
look
black is an appropriate color for me to wear tonight then.
very much so, because it's a very interesting dynamic, because it also differs between males and females too. So in our male groups, or masculine identifying groups might be the better way to put it, it's very clear cut. There's everything up till 20 is a teenager or children, depending on how much you want to cut that down. From 20 to 30, you've got your young males. 30 to 40, you've got your pre-midlife crisis males. From 40 to 60, they're considered the fathers and breadwinners. As much as that pains me to have to use that term that way, because it's not the truth anymore. Goddamn people. And then they hit the elderly group when they hit 60. Women, however, generally hit, from a marketing perspective, you hit about 35 and you're already being classed into that black hole of we don't know exactly who you are, but you're probably a parent. We're going to throw you in that category because we don't know how else to deal with you, which isn't always the right group if you think about it, because we're covering people who do have children, people who don't have children, people who may or may not have special needs. And generally, most of us don't like to consider ourselves as old until much later down the pipeline. So we don't tend to, well, these days, we don't tend to think of ourselves as elderly, and yet apparently me at the tender age of 45 is in one of those more elderly groups, according to all the social profiling that happens.
Yeah, well, I actually only really discovered that I'm old when my local council ran some seniors activities for over 50s. And I
And
was like, hang on a minute, but I'm not old. So it was kind of like that first wake up call, apart from, having to tick the next box. But I was asked to teach some of these, and I thought, oh, I just expected to go in and teach 70-year-olds. It didn't even come into my head that I was in that demographic.
and it's kind of freaky if you look back in time. The ages that we are now is that the ages that the Golden Girls were like aged in their TV sitcom. And they were considered, women of the world who had had their lives and were now settling down into their golden years. But they were in their late 40s, 50s, and the grandmother was in her mid 60s. So, what does that say for us these days? Really? And like a lot of things, clothing sizes, the way that people view things in a, what do you call it, a generic sense, the world's moved on a lot, right?
Yes, yes, it has.
Women are now having their first babies in their 40s. I mean, not as many. Your body probably doesn't quite like it when that happens so much anymore. But that shifts the feeling of the demographic as well. So, from a marketing standpoint, when you're talking to someone about, all right, I want to sell you t-shirts off my website. All right, well, we know that the ones with all the funky bits are probably going to go to the younger demographics. Oh, what are they? Oh, 30s and unders. I'm like, but I like those t-shirts. And they're like, you wear those? I'm like, yeah, would you like me to go and get them out of my wardrobe? Because I have several of them. And everyone looks at me and it's like, oh, we thought you were our age. And I'm like, yay, great genes. But at the same time, it starts giving you thought, well, just a sec. I'm in my mid 40s and these t-shirts are appealing to me. Have we got our demographics right? How are we viewing women? It's kind of like, unless you want to dye your hair and wear young clothing, you're old.
Yeah.
Where's the transition ground?
And that's the thing. There doesn't seem to be one at the moment. I think it's slowly changing because in the 90s we had the whole supermodel boom, and some of those women, they're still out there and they're still in the media. But we see the glamour side of it. We don't see the reality side of it. And most of the women I know and most of the women I dance with aren't going and getting a sensible haircut, a nice perm, and wearing cardigans. Like,
Not anytime soon.
well, not yet. Well, except when it's cold. But well, trendy cardigan.
Trendy cardi.
That's it. That's it.
This is my Kathmandu top, so it's definitely not a cardigan.
We're still trending.
Yeah.
But
Keep my North Face jacket in the cupboard.
yeah, but things have changed so much because in the 80s, like that's what women seem to do. And I would look at women in that demographic and they would be old to me. And then when I got there, I didn't even think about age until I actually hit that magic 50.
And until I had to step up that next button, which said 45 to 55, I was 100% there with you. I'm like, I'm young. I'm still like in my early 40s. I'm good. And now I've got to stop from the 35 to 44 to the 45 to 54 button. And now I feel like I don't belong anywhere anymore. Maybe this is my midlife crisis. If it is, I love it because belly dancing and sparkles and glitter forever. But how that gets viewed is very different depending on which direction you're coming from. If you're trying to sell me something, if you want me to do something, if I want to do something, I mean, it's not much of a difference, right? I give it to you, you give it to me, but totally changes the game. Because if I want to do something, people's first look is, how do you look? Oh, either you've got great genes and you're really 50. I mean, I could take that. Or you must be the age that we think you are, which is, oh, you're in your mid to late 30s. Okay, great. We're going to treat you like you're that age. I mean, I can see where the midlife crisis comes in, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. We are very much judged on our appearance, but for some reason that judgment is still based on things that are 20 years old. Values,
Yeah.
lifestyles, and social structures that are 20 years old.
And that's exactly where your e-commerce providers and your social media providers come from today too. Why change a perfectly good profile of an audience if it's still making you money? So for as long as we keep, I mean, I don't want to say we need to destroy social constructs, but at the same time, the more we play into those, the more it reinforces the fact that they must be right.
Mm.
Because if we stop engaging with products and with areas that are for younger people, because we all of a sudden is ticking that next box up when we do the age brackets, then we are really playing into their game and saying that, oh, you say that I'm now old and I should let my grey hairs grow out and wear a really nice cardigan and go to bed at 9 o'clock. Great, sure, I'll go do that. I mean, it's all right for some people. Me, I'm more one to go raging not so quietly into the night, and you're going to see me in my Vans and my jeans and my very loud printed t-shirts for a very long time.
And that's why we love you.
Why I dance, right? What better way to buck social trends?
Absolutely. And so this is interesting with the media images that are used for mature age versus the way we perceive ourselves. And also what we see in our belly dance communities, because they're ageless. I can remember when I was 23, first going into a class, and there were women in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, and I had no idea what anyone's age was. They
Probably
just,
didn't care.
these amazing women who they didn't care. And I loved that. And it was so good to see as a 23-year-old with, like, questionable self-esteem at the time, going
As we
in,
all did.
seeing these amazing women and going, oh, I want to be like her when I grow up. And now I go, oh, I'm in that demographic now. So yeah, it's interesting to think, how am I viewed by the younger dancers as well? Because I don't know.
I mean, maybe if there's some out there watching, they can let us know. Because this is the question. If you go through belly dance reels on social media, and let's be honest, Instagram is very hard to avoid them, what do you see? You see plastic surgery. If you're looking closely, you see plastic surgery up the wazoo. It's not to say everyone has it, but there's a lot. If you go looking, you can see Botox. Because I don't know about you, but I kind of like these frown lines and my laugh lines and all of my giggle marks because,
Well, I do a lot of character work, so I kind of need the,
right?
yeah,
How are you supposed to tell someone that you're sad if you can't pull it all together?
exactly, because you could look really sad.
Yeah, I'm, no, no.
It is a person's choice, and I understand the pressure too, especially when you're performing professionally, because you are judged by your looks in society, and you are kind of designated an age bracket. Like,
Yep.
I can remember when I was doing restaurant dancing, still in my 40s, going, how long can I do this for before somebody's going to think, why is that old lady dancing? You know, I didn't give it up for that reason, but it was a thought that crossed my mind, and I thought, oh my goodness, where did that come from? And it just comes from all the social constructs around you surrounding age.
Yep, and I've had conversation with gigging dancers who are in the restaurants right now, who have all said, I've been passed up for a request of someone younger. And I look at that and go, I don't know what to say to you. I mean, yay, I'm not going to be passed up because I'm not doing those gigs right now. So for me, I'm in a similar boat. It's like, uh, but it's such an interesting question because what denotes someone as too old? Is
Yeah.
it that we've got age lines, cellulite, and experience behind us?
Hmm.
Is it that we're not coming in as a peppy 20-year-old who's all boobs and legs and big hair and bright smiley smiles, even if the song isn't happy? Are we someone who that wants to be stereotyped as the dancers that come only when you want someone young and small and breakable? Is that what we really want the new generation of dancers thinking they've got to be? It's it's a hard space because we want to be the professional dancer. And if you look at Western professional dance, so even putting belly dance itself aside for a sec,
Hmm.
there is an age limit that those dance formats see. It's very rare you'll see a ballerina doing the prima position in any what's the word I want? Professional setting who's over the age of about 25.
Hmm.
It's very rare that you will see generally actually any dancer over the age of 30 who is still performing at that high level. Belly dance, most of us don't come into until we're 30.
Hmm.
I know the average age of dancers in my classes is actually even higher than that again for starters. So if these people come in wanting professional gigs, if we're not pushing back to say that it's actually okay to have a matured body dancer, are we in fact, again, just reinforcing the same old stereotypes that we fight everywhere else across the whole of the internet, let alone our lives?
And hence why this dancing into maturity discussion came up, because I was thinking of exactly the same sorts of questions and, hitting the big 50 myself and thinking, wow, I'm still doing the occasional professional gig, but am I perceived as my age? That's the question. And I think the only reason that I am getting some more of those gigs is because I'm not being perceived as that 50-year-old at the moment. Yeah.
Big question.
What a great opening conversation with so many things to consider and ponder. We're going to be continuing this conversation in the next clip. If you want to keep up with it and with notifications, this is where I say like and subscribe.